Grab my stand because I don't think that's going to work too well.
Might fall down.
I don't know.
If somebody bumps it, you're in trouble.
Yep, that's why I think I'm going to go grab my stand.
Check, 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 check. Does anybody need a mic check? Does anyone need anything? One. 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 Actually, we don't know.
We're invited, we don't know.
All right, if you see anyone sneaking in here that's not, me or who is the DCRP staff, just let me know and I can.
Thank you so much.
Outside where it's loud. It's nice that it's quiet.
Well, the family lives further
We're gonna
down.
do it 4:15. If we have to wait, we're
The
walking
mother
away.
who's here lives in town.
They can-
What do you need, a flag? Flag shot?
Yeah.
See when she's still there, she's catching pictures around her house. Taking pictures, yeah.
Run by her house. That's not where it was.
Yeah, same thing.
It's weird.
We live in a new society. I know the sheriff was taken aback last week when that lady threatened to sue. The mother of the sheriff threatened to sue.
We are.
I'm sure that if they talk like that, that's two people you can sue. I don't, I mean, again, I'm not. I don't.
Could this have been related? Yes. Should it have been related?
I'm not,
That's the question.
I'm not gonna,
Yeah, that's the court side.
but.
Can you hear your computer, that stuff we did this morning?
To a point,
Yes.
I know law enforcement agencies.
Well, if you roll on it, then I can just pick it all on the same
They have
side.
government on civil lawsuits.
Because it's easier.
You sure?
Okay.
You sure?
Really?
That's
No more than me, but I'm
Here's
just making
Mike's stand.
their first defense when they reply, we have government immunity. And then they address the allegations, and they say that, then it's they're government immunity. I have to pass a big hurdle over a judge.
I'll take that. If someone's gonna.
Just to prove somebody did something on purpose. Calls us back.
Hanging in there.
Shows up.
Good thing he shots up.
And you have to look at it in the court. They can know what was created.
Oh, it's nice having Amber and Jenna in court for close a couple of weeks. Oh, right. I feel like I got all the two hot yeah, I'm like,
My wife lost the job.
These two, my props.
I knew exactly what that's what. We're quite married, we're
do
engaged.
we think it's great?
She's turning it back to the prison over.
What's this movie?
You're just like starting to come anyway, trying to get around here. Yeah.
It's tight as it gets.
This is nice. I like this.
Because I just take it out and I got it out. Everybody use that link. Then everyone else went, hello.
Hello?
Hi there.
Can you talk in that microphone? Yeah.
Just get into the mic check.
Okay.
Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Sorry, excuse me. Mic check, mic check. Is it working, Chris? That's not great.
Take some chairs, okay?
many do you need, sir?
I think 2 more, or 3 more maybe.
Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Mic check, mic check.
Test, test, test.
Yeah, we're good now. Thank you.
We have a court report. Okay. My title is multimedia report. I'm actually going to be overwhelmed most of the time. We have over 200 criminal cases on the week, so there's plenty to write about.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marwan Porter, and I'm here on behalf of Ashton Brown's family. As you all know, there was a tragic incident, that rocked this community. And the family, has hired, me and my law firm to investigate how this happened, why this happened, and how to prevent something tragic like this from ever happening again. You have mental disease out there, you have sickness out there, but you also have something called policies and procedures. And when someone is crying out as loud as they can for help, those cries have to be listened to, and they cannot be ignored. And the authorities and the agencies who are responsible for listening to those cries have to learn to pick up on those cues. Otherwise, these type of things happen. So obviously, I'm here with Ashton's mother, her stepfather, her brothers, and her sister, and they are showing support for their loved one. Obviously, this is, unbearable, unthinkable. They don't like to think about it, but they understand that if something is not done to address this situation, this is not something that can just be swept under a rug, because it will happen again. It has happened before, and it will happen again. So, this is really, really an effort to reach out to this community and to the people in this community to make sure that, we are all safe. And when things like this happen, it is addressed appropriately. It cannot, be addressed with lackadaisical, behavior, with nonchalant, with a brush of a shoulder. It just cannot happen, because this is the result. So, the family is here, and as hard as it is on Christine and the rest of the family, they agreed to come and speak with the media. Obviously, you all have been reaching out, to her for, a few weeks now. And, she wants to answer some questions and to allow the community to know who her daughter was, and what type of loss this really is to her and her family and to this community. Ashton's from this community, was born and raised in this community, went off to school, and came back to this community. And unfortunately, in some ways, portions of this community failed her. And we don't want that to happen again. So we are here to investigate. You know, we're not here to cast aspersions or to point fingers, you know, at this time. We are here to look at it, look at what the policies and procedures are, how those policies and procedures compare to national policies and procedures when you have someone with this type of complaint. You know, as we know, she came to the police station, to the sheriff's office. You know, she was very timid. She made multiple calls, you know, to authorities, and unfortunately, they did not respond. And this is the result. And we think that had there been, you know, intervention, you know, we wouldn't be here right now. Christine got conflicting stories from, you know, parties in law enforcement regarding whether or not an address was given. You know, she was told that no address had been given at all. And then we hear that, you know, 2 addresses, you know, have been given. And so, you know, when you have conflicting, you know, stories, it starts to raise red flags. And you know, we all know that you know, when you do wrong, it's not outside the realm of possibilities for people to cover up their mistakes. But you can't do that. You know, you have to take accountability when you screw up, so that it doesn't happen again. So with that said, the family will take a couple questions, and you know, you'll be seeing more of us because we want to know what happened, and we want to make sure that this never happens again.
I wonder if you could tell us maybe, we've all seen the security camera footage and listened to some of those 911 calls that the sheriff made available. When you all looked at that, I wonder if you could tell me your reaction and maybe the moment that you knew that something was wrong and something wasn't right.
As soon as they walked in the door, she never left the rug until he told her to come to the window. Bella never left her side. And then the other thing was, Brixton was sound asleep. Why would she even get out of the car with a sleeping baby? And everything she said to the receptionist, she was told to say. So, and then what she did say, she gave them my address. So, I mean, she knew I was at home because I was still home from surgery. So, I felt like she knew that they would get to me and I would know something was wrong. But they never came to our house. So, but I could just tell just her body language. She was just very standoffish and she never said a word.
I wonder if you all could tell me maybe a little bit about Ashton and who she was, because we don't want her to get lost in this, and about your babies, Bella and Brixton, as well.
She was just amazing. I mean, like he said, she grew up here. She was an athlete. Softball was her life before her babies. She went off to college to play softball in Raleigh. Then ended up moving back here and completed her education at Winston-Salem State. Graduated in 2019 with a degree in education. She was a teacher. And most importantly, she was a mama that loved her babies. They were her everything. So, I mean, and I can't even say enough about Bella and Brixton. I don't know. They were the best part of her. Bella was 4, going on 14. She was so smart and just had the vocabulary of an adult. She smiled, she danced, she loved to sing. And she never met a stranger. And Brixton was pretty much the same way. I mean, he was going to be just like his big sister. And she was proud to be his big sister. So, it's just hard. I FaceTimed with them every day, or I saw them every day. So it's hard not doing that now. And Ashton actually taught at the same school with me, so we were together every day in that capacity as well. So it's just hard not seeing and talking to him.
You're announcing that you'd like to do an independent investigation of what happened. Maybe the question is, what do you hope to find? What do you hope to accomplish? What do you hope to get out of this process for everyone?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's very clear to everybody that the ball was dropped. So we want to know, why was that ball dropped? How was it dropped? Who dropped it? Did personnel not follow policies and procedures? Do the policies and procedures that are currently in place need to be updated? Something went wrong, and it ended in complete and utter tragedy and unimaginable crisis. And when you have something like this, you can't just move on with life and forget about it, because it will happen again. And so, you know, what we want to accomplish, it primarily is to determine what happened, why it happened, how it happened, and how we can prevent this from ever happening again. You know, that's the goal.
Have you received any kind of correspondence or have spoken to the sheriff's office? The sheriff, have they offered any kind of insight into the situation, or they maybe said, you know, we're going to do this moving forward, or said any of the things that you're hoping to accomplish, like policy changes, anything like that?
Well, we are just getting involved. We've reached out. Our letters are going out. We're going to be asking, you know, certain questions, and hopefully they will be cooperative and they will provide us with the information that we are requesting. If they do not, we will initiate litigation to get the information. You know, but the first step is to reach out and for there to be an acknowledgement of someone screwing up and figuring out what went wrong. And this can't just be behind closed doors. I mean, this family and the community deserves to know what went wrong. And so that's the first step. And we want, you know, answers, and they're not going to just be, you know, a whole bunch of sweet talk, you know, answers. We're going to get, you know, to the nitty gritty of it and understand exactly what happened. And I believe the family was contacted, you know, by the sheriff's office, and the information that they have received thus far has been inconsistent and unacceptable. And this is just too much of a tragedy, you know, to not address. You know, addressing tragedies like this is part of the healing process for the family. Otherwise, you just have to just, you know, wallow in it, and we can't do that. It's unfair, and it's not healthy for the family. You know, the first part of the healing process is to understand what happened and why, and not to be a whole bunch of excuses and explanations that just doesn't make sense. You know, and you know that's why we are here. You know, this is about getting answers and getting closure, you know, to how this occurred. Obviously, you know, we deal with these type of cases all over the country, and you know, when it comes to a child, and now a child and grandchildren, I mean, it's, you know, it's tough. It's really, 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 really tough. I'm trying not to shed a tear myself, but part of what brings at least a little bit of healing is accountability, and knowing that those who are responsible were held accountable, and not just to this family, but to the community. And so, you know, things happen. People mess up. No one's perfect, but it cannot be just swept under the rug. Just can't happen.
I wonder too, because Aschod's mother has been very open and even been public about his struggles with mental health. I wonder if you all, as a family of Ashton, did you see any warning signs before that video or anything that would lead you to believe that she might be eventually in an unsafe situation?
No, Aschod was basically like another member of our family. We were together all day on Easter Sunday. He was at our house all day with the kids and Ashton and all of our other children, and it was just a normal Easter Sunday. So,
And I think, I mean, you bring up, mental disorders and, concussions and CT, all these things. And I think that, hopefully this case in this community and nationally, shed some light that mental illness is for real. Okay. And, we got to stop being embarrassed about it, and ignoring it. It needs to be addressed, and there needs to be programs and services in place to address these type of issues, so that when you see it, these people can get help, okay, and they understand what some of the indicators are, and these people need help. They need help. No different if someone has cancer or anything else. It's just and look, I would be willing to bet that each of you maybe have a family member or a friend who has suffered something. I do, and so it's not so uncommon. Okay, it's very common, and we need to address it without there being some type of stigma. Otherwise it's it turns into horror, and we can't have that. So with the concussions and again, I don't know about any of that. We'll look into that as well, and maybe those collateral issues could be addressed, and should be addressed nationally. But we're here because we know that those issues occur, and that's why we have law enforcement and we have agencies who we pay taxes to protect us and to hear our screams, whether they're loud or silent, and to come to our rescue. Hopefully those other things can be addressed, but we want to see what it is that the Davie Sheriff's Department did right, wrong, or indifferent. We want to know.
Let me just be clear, so you want to know why the Davie County Sheriff's Office did not send a deputy to their home for a welfare check before all this happened?
We want to know, that's one of the questions, but we want to know why didn't, a deputy or officer come out, and greet the family when they initially came to the sheriff's office. They were there for some point in time. You have a male, a female, you have 2 kids, baby in hand, and they're asking to speak to an officer, not a front desk reception. And I don't know what their policies are, right? Who was at the front? Was the front desk receptionist, was she an officer, or was she just a clerical clerk? We don't know. So yeah, we want all those answers. When the 911, I'll tell you one thing: if someone calls 911 in my neighborhood, oh, you're gonna have the whole battalion out there. So we want to know why it wasn't addressed properly. We want to know. So again, we're here to seek answers, not to cast aspersions.
But you did mention possible litigation.
Absolutely.
Against the Davie County Sheriff's Office and the Davie County government? Against
any and all municipalities, people who have responsibility in this. If it comes to that, if something was done wrong, if nothing was done wrong, then there would be no need for litigation. But if someone dropped the ball and someone acted in a reckless or negligent manner, then that will be up to the family to decide at that point in time. Right now, they have not hired me for that. They hired me to get answers and to understand what happened so that this does not happen again. That's their main objective. Not litigation, answers, and for proper programmatic tools and mechanisms to be put in place so it doesn't happen again.
How long were Aschod and Ashton together? Obviously they have 2 babies, so they were together for quite a while, but how long does the relationship span?
They met in 2014 when in college. he was a football player at Shaw University and she was a softball player.
Okay, so they dated pretty regularly until,
Uh-huh.
they were, I imagine, making plans to spend their lives together long-term, yeah?
No.
Yeah. When she moved back, he came with her, so, yeah.
If I understand correctly, the Meeks family is doing something similar, investigating what exactly happened. Are you working with them, or is this completely separate investigations happening? Could you share just of the logistics happening?
Yeah, well, you know, at this point in time, you know, I've been hired by Ashton's family, and, you know, our investigation is independent, you know, of whatever Aschod's family, you know, is doing. You know, obviously, you know, we'd be willing to work, you know, with anybody, you know, who is seeking to get answers because, you know, his family is suffering, you know, as well. We understand that. And, you know, everyone deserves to know what happened, you know, because, hey, look, he was in there as well. You know, he was there. You know, why he was there, you know, I don't know, you know, but he was there. But, you know, it's you know, it's tragic. You know, it's, you know, let's say, you know, it wasn't Ashton. Let's say it was just somebody, you know, who is getting some, you know, food from Taco Bell, you know, and this person goes to get some help and get some service, and they're having, you know, some paranoia or whatever, and then, you know, they end up, you know, at Taco Bell and shooting everybody, you know, who has a taco in there. I mean, it's bad, you know. So, you know, what happened? You know, why did this, you know, why did this occur, and what could have been done differently, you know, to prevent it? So yeah. So to answer your question, right now, you know, we have a independent investigation that's separate than, you know, what Aschod's mother, you know, is doing. But, you know, we are willing to work with anybody who's seeking the same objective. Anything else?
Have we missed anything? Is there anything that anyone had hoped to say that hasn't been said at this point?
I think we're good from now. But you know, this is just a start, and so we appreciate you all being out here. This is something that affects the whole community, and we'll keep you, you know, up to speed. Thank you.
Can I get your name? I'm with the Winston-Salem Journal.
Sure. Maybe I can get everyone's business cards or.
Do you mind actually just saying your name and spelling it?
Sure. Yeah, it's Marwan Porter, Marwan Porter, Porter.
Can you spell her name as well?
Christine, and I didn't spell her last name properly.
Additional spelling with the